In the heart of an ancient forest, nestled between towering trees and glistening lakes, there lived a wise old owl. Her feathers were the color of moonlight, and her eyes twinkled with wisdom and kindness. But this owl had a secret, a deep-rooted fear that prevented her from soaring through the skies, a fear that threatened to consume her whole. You see, years ago, the owl had experienced a traumatic fall from a great height, and ever since, she had been afraid to fly. As the sun peeked over the horizon, casting long shadows across the forest floor, the owl awoke from her slumber. She ruffled her feathers, shook off the remnants of her dream, and hopped to the windowsill. The morning mist swirled around her as she gazed at the sky. High above her, a flock of birds soared effortlessly, their wings catching the first rays of sunlight. Their carefree flight was a stark contrast to the prison she had built for herself. Each day she would watch them take to the skies, envy gnawing at her heart. With each passing day, the fear of heights grew stronger, keeping her grounded and alone. Yet deep within her, a flicker of her former self remained, a yearning for the freedom and joy that came with flight. One day, as she sat perched on her windowsill, her gaze fell upon a young bird who had ventured too far out on a slender twig. The wind picked up, swaying the branch precariously. The little bird, unaware of the danger, teetered on the edge, its chirping echoing through the forest. The owl's heart skipped a beat. She knew that in a moment of carelessness, the twig would break and the baby bird would plummet to the ground. A wave of panic surged through her. What if the same fate befell her? The thought sent shivers down her spine, making her old wounds feel raw. But, as she watched, the wind grew stronger, threatening to snatch the baby bird from its precarious perch. The owl felt an overwhelming sense of dread, her heart pounding against her ribs like a drum. But then something extraordinary happened. As if summoned by an invisible force, the owl spread her wings, a gesture she hadn't dared to make in years. Her heart raced, her breath quickened, and for a moment she forgot her fear. The wind snatched at her wings, almost knocking her off balance, but she held on. With newfound determination, she launched herself into the air, her wings beating powerfully against the wind. She soared higher and higher, the ground falling away beneath her. A rush of exhilaration coursed through her, erasing the fear with every flap of her wings. Reaching the stricken baby bird, she gently grabbed it in her talons and turned toward home. The sight of the majestic owl swooping through the air, a tiny bird clutched safely in her grasp, was a sight to behold. Her return was a spectacle of courage and grace, a testament to the indomitable spirit that resided within her. As she landed on her windowsill, the other birds erupted into cheers. They hooted and screeched, their voices echoing her triumph. The owl, with the rescued baby bird nestled in her warm embrace, felt a surge of pride. In that moment, she realized that she had conquered not only her fear, but also found her purpose. She was no longer just an owl who had forgotten how to fly. She was an inspiration, a beacon of hope for those who dared to dream of taking flight. The forest echoed with the cheers of the birds, celebrating the return of their courageous leader. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, the owl sat perched on her windowsill. Beside her, the rescued baby bird, now safe and sound, chirped merrily, a melody of gratitude. The owl looked up at the sky, a million stars twinkling back at her. The fear that had once bound her was now a distant memory, replaced by the sweet taste of freedom and the satisfaction of a purpose fulfilled. She was the owl who had forgotten how to fly, and now she was soaring again, her spirit as boundless as the sky itself. This is the story of the owl who forgot how to fly, but found her wings again. Do you have a story of overcoming challenges and finding strength in unexpected places? Share your story in the comments below. Sometimes healing begins the moment you dare to rise again. Subscribe for more animated stories of courage and hope.